Hey, you got Marc Ash here, and if you're enjoying our videos on YouTube and the Christ Surge channels on Roku and Fire Stick, I urge you to get my latest book here. It's by Marc Ash, Faith in Motion, Mobilizing Christians for Global Impact. I urge you to get this book today. If you go to christsurge.net or christsurge.com and click on shop, you will find that book along with much other great merchandise. But this book is a must-read. It's mobilizing Christians for global impact, because that's what Christ Surge is all about. We are mobilizing Christians for global impact. And I hope you'll check the book out today, and we have other great merchandise as well. Thank you very much.
This is a great privilege, pleasure right now to do something here tonight. This is the second time I've been able to do this year. But me and this boy have been through a lot of stuff over the years. And I'm going to tell you one thing, I've never been more proud of him when he answered the call to be a minister. And so here he is, my son, mean Marc Ash.
All right.
All right, good afternoon or good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Now, I'm going to follow up on something Andy was talking about earlier with the unexpected faith. I'm sure that if you really want to go back to probably the first true case of unexpected faith that I can say is recorded anyway, I mean, I doubt it's the first case, but first recorded case, was probably the day of the crucifixion. Because if you think about it, when they put Jesus on the cross after beating him, spitting him, kicking him, mocking him, and everything, they put him in between a couple other young men that were being crucified as well. I mean, a common career criminal right beside him. You know, he watched Jesus go through the same thing that he was going through, but he watched Jesus keep a good attitude and actually pray for the people that were doing it to him. And he just kind of looked over at Jesus and says, I don't know who you are, I don't know what your name is, I don't know what to call you, but I want what you have. And Jesus is like, you will be in paradise with me tonight.
Amen.
And I'm sure when this young man finally succumbed to his injuries and the crucifixion and things like that, the conversation probably a little bit something like this. You know, he wakes up, he's standing there at the pearly gates, and there stands, St. Peter and, the other gatekeepers, and they're probably like, well, yes, sir, can we help you? And he's like, well, I want to come in. Can I come in? And they're like, well, do you know Torah? Do you know the doctrines? Do you know? No, I don't know any of that. Do you know the Ten Commandments? No, don't know them either. Can you just read off a couple Bible verses? Give us something here to work with, man. And he's just like, you see that guy sitting over there? He said, I know him, and he knows me. And he said I could come here.
Amen. Yes.
That's
That
right.
goes to prove one thing, which I'll probably make a little bit of joke out of, but it's a reality. It just shows that even your salvation even falls into this category. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right.
Like I said, that man, I'm sure that was an unexpected faith, because I'm sure he did not expect up that morning, expecting to be spending the evening better off when he woke up.
That's right.
But like I said, that was the first case that I can honestly say is recorded of. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Because too many people just fall along the wayside, and they don't cry out until that time of need. And that's when they find out, that's where the faith comes in. Did you have the faith? Did you not have the faith? I mean, because like I said, it came down to who that young man knew, not what he knew, because he knew nothing going into that day, probably about Christianity, God, anybody, anything. And he woke up better off than the people that put him to death. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, which is why I kind of picked my sermon path tonight to be on Psalm 23:4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now, the way this, my ministry started earlier this year, it was more of a chronic illness, because, those of you that know me know I suffer from a pretty debilitating disorder, and, I mean, sometimes it's probably up to a month or so sometimes before I get out of bed, don't get out of bed. And, you know, Andy, you remember the old wrestling persona and all that we used to have, because me and our other buddy Shane and Connor, we were known as a group called Bad Company. You know, we tore up and down the East Coast. I mean, I hate that, you know, Shane's not here tonight, but, you know, it's, like I told you, last Christ Church we were at Sherwood, I mean, it's like, these are guys I ran with from, you know, the early 90s on up through the end of it, you know, and I go back to what I said to Clayton, is we were more washed in the whiskey than washed in the blood back in those days. But, you know, the point is, you know, Jesus never left us. You know, I mean, I knew Jesus prior to getting in the wrestling business. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't gonna say I really did much in the wrestling business to further his name or anything of that nature. I was doing everything I wanted to do. But, let's see, now, you know, Dad knows what I go through a lot of times with the disease and everything like that, you know, and of course, you know, some of you have seen the videos where, you know, I mean, I've declared war on Satan. You know, you want me, come get me. Okay, I can take your best shot. I can take your best shot. And I mean, I keep going over and over that. So it's like the type of dysautonomia I've got, they say once you're diagnosed, it's about an average 6-year lifespan. And I was a good 2 years into it before it was diagnosed. And I mean, like I said, I have some horrendous days, I really do. But I come down to it, you know, everything, the worst that's happened to me, I've done worse than that to myself on purpose in a wrestling ring. That's why I keep saying, Satan, you've picked a losing battle. And it's not me you're battling. That's the part you don't realize. It's not me you're battling. When guess you didn't get your, we'll talk wrestling, I mean, there's some wrestlers there, I guess you didn't get your booking sheet to see who my manager was tonight. Because when Satan gets to the arena, sees Marc Ash accompanied to the ring by Jesus, he just realized that was not the night to test me or press me or arrest me, because all he could do was eye me, because he didn't have the army it took to try me. And that's the thing we got to go back to. Every bad thing in this world that happens for a reason, and it happens to the betterment of somebody else, typically. I mean, because what I'm going through has led me to make various friends on the internet that are either going through dysautonomia or going through other diseases, and you know, it's like, you know, my wife says, well, like, you know, yeah, they see you cut your videos, they know they hear your pep talks, but you know, they don't see your bad days and everything. And I was like, no, that's why some of the videos I posted, you know, from the night I busted my nose wide open, and my hair's all over the place, no shirt on, and I'm like, that's why I posted videos like right after that happens, because I'm showing these people I'm living what I'm talking to you. I am experiencing it too. Okay, so I don't have it all figured out. Just because I could put a good presentation together does not mean tomorrow I ain't going to be laying in the dirt with you. Because the day after tomorrow, I may have an adrenaline dump and get up and go get back in the ring. Who knows, Sherwood? I mean, it's just one of those things that you don't know what you get till you wake up in the morning. And I forget where I was going with this, but for the moment, because occasionally I will lose a train of thought in here. But, you know, it comes down to, like I said, you walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Everybody is walking that fine line today, whether you have a chronic illness or whether you don't.
That's right.
Because there is no guarantee you ain't going to walk out there and not going to get hit by a bus right now. Okay? So, I mean, I may be the least healthy person in this room and live the longest. You know, I mean, we don't know. We don't know. Bottom line is, you know, keep your hearts and mind on Jesus. You know, it's like what somebody was saying that I'm getting off track from where I think our road's going to be, which is why I kind of stuttering a little bit. But you know, we talk about sin and faith and what it takes to get to heaven. And the Bible itself says that you have to, A, believe in Jesus and confess Him as your Lord and Savior. It's not, you don't get there through your works alone. You do not get there through your works alone, and you can do all the best works in the world and not make it, because I mean the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Okay, I mean it's not what you do. Like I said, it's the who you know more so than the what you know. And that's the thing, you know. I mean, I'm just all over the place. I know I'm not having a good night. But like I said, we talked about, you know, when Jesus came back, you know, we talked about, you know, can you quote the Ten Commandments? Like I was talking about the young man, you know, can you quote the Ten Commandments? No, I don't know the Ten Commandments. Now, you know, and then before Jesus came, the Ten Commandments was the law. I mean, that was the law. And nobody could live up to that. And that's where, you know, Jesus came back as one of, I mean, he's a three-part being. He's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then when he came back as the Son in the flesh, to show the world that a sin-free life could be lived, and two, that, you know, it's not even a requirement. The sin-free life is not a requirement. You know, when, I think it was a movie, what was it, The Shack, where the man is talking to Jesus, and you know, and the guy's like, he's like, "What, do you just hang around?" You know what? Jesus says, "No, I'm just like you. I was looking for some friends." You know?
Powerful, yeah.
I mean, he's just like, I'm just looking for some friends. Jesus did not come here to abolish the law, which is where I think a lot of people, you know, get confused, you know, about, you know, the Old Testament law. You're not held to the standards. He didn't abolish the law. But it said in John 3:17, it's because he did not come here to condemn the world. He came here to liberate it.
That's right.
He came here to free it. Because that's what a lot of people don't realize. You know, I was looking, you know, I'm looking up, you know, different other stuff for other faith-based movies, and I've got one I've been kind of toying and going back and forth with on Apollyon, which is, he's known as the gatekeeper or angel of the abyss, the gatekeeper of hell. I mean, there's, depending on who you talk to, I mean, there's some confusion back and forth on his character, because, I mean, even Old Testament and New Testament will say a little bit of different things about him. You know, so there's a lot of confusion as to whether he is a fallen angel or whether he is truly like a warrior angel, or because, you know, I guess here's where a lot of confusion comes in. It's because like early in the Bible, it says that he was Lucifer's left hand in the war in heaven, and that his problem with Satan came with the fact that he wanted to be ruler and Satan wanted to be ruler. But also, and you go back to Revelations, it says that Apollyon returns after the fifth trumpet is sounded with locusts to torment those who have accepted the mark of the beast. So it's like, I don't know which way this character goes, and I want to put some more homework into it before I put a movie out with false information in it. So, but the thing is, one thing I have kind of learned a little bit, you know, reading that, is that angels actually fall in and out of grace at times. You know, there is no perfect being other than God alone. And that's where I think a lot of people get confused up, because it's like, I could sit here and sing all my pro wrestling accolades. I could sit here and sing all my accolades from this, all my accolades from that. You know, it's like, you said right after I did the War on Satan video that I was the toughest Christian you've ever met. No, it ain't nothing about being tough. It's just I'm just the vessel to do the battle. That's it. I mean, I'm not even the one doing the fighting when it comes down to the end of it. That's why, Satan, you can't beat me. That's why you can't beat me, because you're not fighting me. You were defeated 2,000 years ago, 2,000 plus years ago. All you're doing now is just still trying to make a stand and be a flash in the pan. And he does it at the expense of a lot of people. Which is why, you know, once again, we talk about walking in the valley of the shadow of death. And I said, you know, sick or not, you're still walking that valley. I think of the commercial that's going out right now, you know, where the song is, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile, you know, and everybody's always saying, you couldn't walk a mile in my shoes, you know, whatever we got going on. And And I was looking at my wife the other night when that song came on, and I said, you know, if I really stopped and thought about it, I said, I don't think you could walk a mile in my shoes. I said, I don't think I could walk a mile in yours either. I said, I don't think anybody could change shoes and walk a mile, because you don't know what that other person is dealing with. And that's one thing I've learned with dysautonomia, because it's called a silent disease, which then led to depression, which is where my silent depression video came out, which is actually part of a bigger movie on depression itself, really. But it's just like, when dysautonomia first starts, you hear about them falling and passing out, this and that, but then you see me, you look fine. You can't be that bad, you look fine. You don't know what's going on inside of somebody. You will never know what's going on inside of somebody unless you do try to walk a mile in their shoes. And unfortunately, that's not possible. But what I'm saying is, you could find out that maybe internally what they're dealing with is actually worse than what you're dealing with, and you just didn't know it. You just didn't see it. Because the thing is, we've all got our own demons to fight. And just because my battle may look easy to you today doesn't mean that internally I ain't wanting to crawl under a rock and die somewhere. Whereas I see, looks like you're having a good day, and I think I want what you want. We get back to, the thief on the cross. He picked the right person to say that too. But I mean, it's just like, sure, but I could change places with you and find out what you're dealing with that I don't know about. It's a whole lot worse than anything I want to mess with. And then, like I said, then you go find out what it is I'm dealing with. And that's just it. Reality, we may not want to change places as badly as we thought we did. It's just so. I just kind of, like I said, I'm kind of back and forth on that. When walk a mile in my shoes, I don't think anybody could walk a mile in my shoes. But at the same time, I don't think I could turn around and do it in yours either. Because I think of all the stuff that. Andy, I know Shane and Connor told you some of the crazy stuff that the three of us used to do, and it's just like, I'm surprised I'm still alive, some of the crazy stuff we did. But it was, and that's why I look at, a lot of things. Like wrestling today, I look at it, you think the late 80s when I got in it, I was about 165, 170 pounds soaking wet. I definitely didn't look like I belonged in those days, okay? Now I turn on TV on Monday night or Wednesday night, and I'm like, how in the world, who let these little guys in there? And I'm just like, at first I'm thinking, wait a minute, I was born in the wrong decade, I guess. And then I'm thinking, well, you know what? If I hadn't come along when I did, though, that pathway or that paveway for them to get there may not have ever been laid. Did I go as far as I wanted to, or maybe as far as I think I did, or probably not. But the point is, I opened the door for somebody by refusing to take that no. That gave somebody else a better opportunity than I got. And so I don't feel bad about, my lack of accomplishments, like I said, because everybody likes to think about, you like to brag a lot, you're proud of your, well, that's just it. I am proud of what I accomplished, because, and I'm glad I did it at the way and the time and everything I did it, because I wouldn't trade a minute of it. Wouldn't trade a minute of it for the world. And, because like I said, I probably never met Andy. Probably never met Sherwood. If I hadn't already been in the business when you guys come along, Because I remember the first time we met, I remember meeting Shane and Connor for the first time. I'm sure you've heard that story. We only had about 5 people show up that night to watch it. It happens. It happens. But anyway, like I said, Ben, I'm kind of rambling a little bit because I'm not with a lot of source tonight. I'm going to close this down a little bit earlier. But, the thing we need to, we're all here, we're all friends. Like I said, I think I've met everybody prior to tonight other than you, Vinny. It's, be thankful for what you got, be thankful for what you have, be thankful for who you're with at any and all times. It's like, we've been cutting up singing and stuff like that. Just like I've heard trying to think of who the artist is right now, but they got a song out. It says, sing a song for the sinner, sing a song for the saints, the ones still living and the ones that ain't. Sing a song for the cities and sing a song for the small towns. And he said, let's sing a song for the road crew and let's sing one for the band. But regardless, let's sing this song together tonight because we may never be here again.
That's right.
And so I'm going to close with that. Andy, Dad, do one of you guys want to do the
Yeah, I'll do it for you.
close down tonight?
Yeah, I'll do it for you.
All right, you want to get the guitar out and play? Yeah.
So you were singing?
Nah, I don't even know what you got to play. So turn it back over to you.
Bill Martin, you want to sit right next to him?
Andy, come on up here, buddy. Well, in all church services, back in the late 1800s, D.L. Moody preached in Chicago, the tent revival. And that night, he didn't give an altar call. And 250 people lost their life in the Chicago fire that night. And about half of them had attended that particular crusade. And from the rest of his life, he never, ever held a service, no matter how big, how small, how informal, or how formal, that he did not give an altar call. Like I say, Mark was dealing with some stuff, and I'm at the age that, yeah, it's really an odd feeling. Know that my son is really in worse shape than I am. So I'm gonna ask y'all to pray for him, pray for me. If there's somebody in your family that needs prayer, pray for them. We don't have an altar, but we do have some comfortable seats on the front row. If you just like to get near the inner circle,